Mark Sokolow is a 44-year-old attorney who works at a corporate law firm in Midtown Manhattan. He describes 43 of those years as being quiet, productive, and leading to a settled life on Long Island with a wife and 2 daughters. But in the last 12 months, he has narrowly escaped death twice. On September the 11th, he was 38 floors up on the South Tower of the World Trade Center when the first plane hit. He headed for the stairwell and heard a message blaring in the speakers, but he couldn't exactly understand it. Lucky for him, the announcement was an all-clear call for everyone to go back upstairs. He calmly made it outside, right before the second plane hit the other building.
And as soon as I got into the shopping concourse, I felt the building shake or shudder. And I just had this feeling that I better get out of here because, maybe the ceiling will fall down or something. The crowd started to run. Until then, it was fairly orderly, people just walking quickly. But then people started to make a mad dash for exits.
Sokolow looked up and saw the buildings on fire. His immediate thought was to tell his wife that he was all right. But for an agonizing few hours, he, like everyone else, found their cell phones were useless. Finally, he got home, turned on the television, and saw Tower number 2 collapse.
It was just very disturbing. It made us so angry that this is what people could accomplish, fairly unsophisticated people.
Sokolow then called his very relieved daughter, who was living in Israel.
Almost the first thing she said to me was, Dad, you were afraid to send me to Israel, and now look what's happened in New York. And it was a very telling, line.
Several months later, Mark Sokolow says he began to realize just how lucky he'd been. The family had planned a vacation in Florida, but he thought a trip to Israel to visit his daughter might be more meaningful and a way to heal from the shock of September the 11th. Then on their last day, they stopped in downtown Jerusalem and walked into a shoe store. As they walked out, a woman walked in.
She looked around. She was asked for assistance. I think the women in the store reported that she kind of had a strange look on her face. So they asked her to leave the store, and she did, and she blew herself up.
Once again, Sokolow found himself surrounded in chaos and in pain. Separated from his family, he lay in the hospital, wounded and wondering.
When I got into the hospital, they walked me through the emergency ward. I was bleeding, and my right leg was in a lot of pain. And I thought I saw out of the corner of my eye a young girl lying in bed, and her face was in very bad shape. And I remember thinking that might be Jamie, my little one.
The girl turned out to be his daughter. His wife, Rena, suffered the most serious injuries. Her leg shattered. She still walks with a cane. Now, 1 year later, the man the New York Post called Mr. Lucky says being hit by terrorism twice has made him realize Americans cannot, should not, live their lives in fear. Life simply goes on.
It's certainly not forgotten, and I think, but I think it's going to take a while for people. I'm not sure that we'll ever really get over it.